Yo, 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 it's Thursday night. We're back. I'm your boy High Five Vega. It's my guy Dean over here. Runs
Hola.
a small YouTube channel. You might have
It
heard of
is.
it, Five Star.
It is. It's very small. But if I did makeup, I'd be really big.
There you
But
go. You'd also
yeah,
look quite different.
yeah, I'd probably look younger. Maybe a little bit more color, not so pale.
Oh man,
Yeah. So how you been, man?
been doing great. I happened to on my lunch break see a video of a pretty cool Marine five channel kicker amp.
Yeah, right. I
I
saw
mean
that one,
that's a pretty cool amp.
dude. And I'd love to tell you that that's it for that amplifier,
Yeah.
but there's more to come.
Oh, okay.
So if that turns out the way it's supposed to, there again. I can't say shit.
Right.
I do. Somebody will tell. But
I'm finally getting to the age where I can afford a boat now.
yeah,
So now I can think about getting a boat. So now marine audio becomes much more important to me.
yeah. I don't want to own a boat ever.
Yeah.
Not one.
Yeah.
But see, the nice thing about that is that, Broncos and Jeeps, these are all topless vehicles,
Right.
and the conformal coating on that amplifier is really impressive. I mean, obviously we've taken several amplifiers apart in our tenure of doing this,
Yeah.
and that it's always amazing, like what some of these companies do. It's like, oh wow, okay, well,
When it's like a lot of times I think people overlook the fact that like a marine amp, what you're going to get is the IP64 rating or whatever it's rated.
yeah.
Plus, most of them are much more compact than standard amps. So they work
Well,
great in car audio, like regular
yeah,
car applications.
yeah. And if you had to have an amplifier that, God forbid, you mounted to your subwoofer enclosure because you're that guy,
That's a
buy
good
a conformal coated marine amplifier, because guess what? The
yeah.
components are locked to the board, so you don't have to worry about them vibrating off.
Dude, I didn't I put my amp on sub boxes until like probably I want to say like 2016. Well, I got out of cardio for a while, but when I got
Yeah,
back in, even after I got back in, I was still doing the same thing until
yeah.
I started seeing people, and I was like, "Oh, we're not
Listen,
supposed to do that."
you know, the reality is that you don't know what you don't know until you know what you didn't know, right? And
Yeah,
we all did it. It's not like, I mean, that was literally like, dude, you'd set the box on the workbench, tip it a little bit, screw everything to it, and slide it into the car. I mean, that was the antithesis of the trunk forward build back in
yeah,
the day. I mean, we all did it. I mean, it wasn't like we didn't know until the manufacturers were like, "Oh, why are these things failing?" And it's like, "Why are the parts shaking off the board?" And it was like, "Stop mounting them to the box."
yeah,
But I mean, that was what you did. That was what you did. You know. Um,
there wasn't as many 160 and 170 dB cars back then either.
no, oh, for sure. And there wasn't as many cheaply built amplifiers.
Right.
Well, I take that back, because
That's
some of those
actually
amplifiers,
on my list of things.
yeah.
We'll talk about it.
But we has an installer in this industry for 30 plus years. You have to evolve, right? You have to do things better every year. I always like it because, like, before we started, an image of some stuff we installed in a car. It says this was from 4 years ago or whatever it was, and you look at it and you go, "Oh, I would do that so different now."
Yeah, exactly.
you know, but
It's like
I
looking
think
at your
that's
first
what you
YouTube
have to do.
videos. It's like
Hmm?
looking at your first YouTube videos, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
"Ooh,
Oh
what?"
God, Jesus. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, that's yes. There's always. I feel in life, if you're not evolving, then you might as well just find something else to do.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's important to keep eyes on the prize, but also to look left and right to see what everybody else is doing and go, "Oh, that's pretty cool. I want to go over there." And then, oh, it's a whole world of possibilities. So, um,
When it's literally my job, what I do every day for work is continuous improvement. So I mean, you got to do it.
I don't plan on getting any of the Stinger amplifiers as of right now. That isn't to say that we won't.
Yeah.
I know Paul has them if people want to buy them. So here's the funny thing. So the whole Stinger audio line of products, we'll go there real quick, is designed for consumers. In-house, it's called DTC, direct to consumer. And the whole line was brought out to compete with other similar products
Yeah,
that are online.
direct to consumer brands. There's a lot of
Right.
them out
Yeah.
there.
And there's a real big one here right down the street from Stinger. And so they were never meant to be sold in retailers. Like, we were never supposed to get these amplifiers. They were not made for us. They were priced wise. And then all of a sudden, they opened them up to retailers, and we're like, why did they do that? I mean, that's kind of weird. Because it severely lacks the features that, as a retailer, I want in my products at that price point. Because there's way more options for me to sell somebody than somebody that's just like,
Right.
going, oh, 149, 139, 129, 119, buy. And it's like, that world is kind of scary, especially when we're integrating into a car or it's like, okay, sure, you bought the amp for $119. Now we got to sell them all this other crap. Let's just sell them better amplifier,
Yeah. Well, if you're going to spend, even if you go to like a budget friendly installer, it's going to cost quite a bit of money to get it done nowadays because all the packages you have. So if you're going to go through that, you need to put some money into a little bit of money into the equipment.
Anything you do is ridiculous now, right? So the reason why I was a little late is tomorrow our garage door opener died, and it's like, oh, of course, this sucks, And so we're getting quotes to fix it because I know I can put it up. There's no question in my mind I can install it. I've done amazing things, but I don't want to put the time into it because it's like, okay, so if I spend my day Sunday, that's the only day I have off, and that's a family day, and so Hannah and I are going to spend the whole day sweating in the garage to save $300.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no,
you always got to balance it. Like if it was going to cost $3,000, well, maybe then that's a consideration.
Yeah.
But
so now it's like you got to call around, and it's not even the price. Like, everyone's charging about the same amount of money to install it, but it's like, all right, what are you selling me? What brand do you have or feature set do you have? And it's like, oh, that one's crap, and it's like, but for some reason that's, it's so weird, but it's all expensive. I mean, like, it's ridiculously expensive. All right, so quick. So it says Helix DSP still decent beginner DSP to get. It's more than
beginner.
It's not a beginner's DSP for sure. Okay, so that's wrong. It's a fantastic DSP, but it's not a beginner's DSP. It has a ton of features, but it's a spectacular. Like, if that's what you're considering, it's when you're within your budget, by all means, go for it. You won't be disappointed.
Or check out
what's that?
You can check out the Mini too.
Yeah, but keep in mind, it will be. There's 4 DSPs in the world that matter. Okay, I'm gonna scare everyone right now, and you can hate me if you want, but the reality is there's 4 DSPs at current that matter. Okay, and there's some tokens. Like audio control and maybe Zabco if they can get their shit figured out. And but you have Helix, you have Arc, you have Moscone, and you have Electromedia, which is the Audison brand, which also makes Helix. Those are it. Those are the 4 DSPs that are pushing the envelope forward with feature sets. The rest of the DSPs out there aren't bad. That's not saying that they're bad. It's just saying that these 4 DSPs have a feature set that set themselves so far away from where everyone else is settled that's where they're at. And it's always amusing. So token would be like the JL Audio makes a good token DSP. It's got a lot of stuff. It's a little dated. Audio control makes a good DSP, but there again, that is probably your easiest to use DSP. That is a little, it has like all pass filter adjustment and stuff like that built into it. So it's hard to find right now. They're kind of out of stock. But But then everything else basically has the 4 basic features, right? They have level control for each channel. They have crossovers for each channel. They have equalization for each channel. And they have time alignment for each channel. Those are the 4 core features that define a DSP. Each channel. So most of the lower end, that 300 to or even the cheaper ones, even like the 199, because as shitty as the Dayton is, it has those features. So
Yeah.
so from whatever that thing costs up to whatever the price before the DSP Mini, that's that. Another token one would be DSP or Mini DSP.
Yeah.
Has a really unique set, but it's not really that well accepted in the industry. It's very esoteric for sure. And there's going to be some esoteric weird ones that exist too, but out of if we're talking about mainstream, those are the 4 for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you don't touch it. So
I mean, yeah, it's true.
so,
Yeah. Can't yeah. Wow. Okay. Oh, he meant Hertz. Hertz makes a good DSP as well. Yes. Yeah. So the Hertz or Helix, either way, they're both very good DSPs. If it is the Helix DSP, yes, the software in that is fairly simple to use.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one is simple. Yeah, you'll be okay. It's a nice DSP. I own one.
Springer motor. What's getting replaced?
So they don't make the motor anymore, which really sucks.
Yeah.
We've already had the springs replaced, so the whole unit just died. The motor seized up finally. It's an old screw drive, which really sucks. Apparently, they don't make screw drives anymore.
Those are the best ones.
I know. And it's like, do you want chain or belt? And I'm like, belt?
I think belt's. I don't know. Is belt? I think belt's better.
Everything I read was like belt is quieter.
Yeah.
And the reality
I
is,
replaced the spring in our garage door. That is the sketchiest thing I've ever done.
I would never. I watched the guy do it, and I go, "Oh,"
because they only give you like this much depth with those metal rods to walk.
Yeah.
Like if you slip, the whole thing's.
Oh yeah, you're getting.
That's like, jeez, dude.
No,
that was sketchy.
Yeah, but what's up, Justin? Oh, that new guy at MSC be worth going. That brand DSP. It's funny. So, they're talking about Jeff Smith. It went to work for MSC, which is Helix, Brax, and Match, and a couple other brands that they sell in house, some radars and stuff like that. And I think they also do Blam. But it was funny because Jeff's always been my tech support guy for that stuff. Because out of all those DSPs and then all the other DSPs, something about Brax. There's a null in my brain that just does not understand some of the stuff they do. Like, I can wrap my head around a lot of things, but there's just something about the way they do things. I've either not researched it enough or it's never been properly explained, that it always screws me up in the beginning. And I always have to call and be like, okay, we're going to go through this one more time because it still don't make sense to me, Whereas other like Moscone figured it out. Like, boom, this is badass. And it's just like, it's layers. It's like a parfait. It's just layers. Arc, same thing. Like tomorrow or Saturday on the show, we're going to talk about surround sound.
Yeah.
Because everyone always wants like rear effect surround sound. And, a lot of these DSPs have up mixers of some kind, but most of the time they bury them and don't put them out where you can use them.
Yeah.
Or they'll just label it as something weird. Arc Audio's DSP happens to have a surround sound built into it. And again, it's kind of not there for you to see, but the shit it can do for your rear effect is freaking cool as hell. And there again, it's kind of biased because like Brian would never use rear.
Yeah.
So he would not even care, but the customer we had was like, I want my rear to I want this. I want my surround sound. And you're like,
right.
Seriously, dude? Yeah. So we're going to talk to people, how to use it, how to turn it on. And of course, give Fernando's review of it because that's always the more compelling of the two. He's like, holy shit.
Arc's the only one I haven't messed with yet. I've done Moscone DSPs, Helix, Odyssey,
Yeah.
and a bunch of other, but Arc I have not. So that's one I still need to get my hands on and play with.
So the funny thing is it's like knowing those guys and then playing with the software. It's so funny because you can just see them in it. You know,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, that feature sucks, and it's like, yeah, but it's really cool. And it's like it'll never be put in an ARC DSP. And you're like you still have to do math with their DSP for time alignment. You have to do math. And for those of you guys that are like, math, what are you talking about? Oh, I just type in my numbers. No, you have to do math. So in some DSPs will automatically calculate the value of the closest to farthest speaker and figure out that number as you enter them in. And then Brian is like adamant, like, we're not putting a calculator in ours. And I'm like, you suck.
Or
like,
JBL will make you measure from the farthest speaker back for every speaker.
Yeah,
that's always fun.
Well, yeah, again, that's the math. You know, it's
right,
like,
yeah, that's the math.
You know, the farthest speaker is always your 0 point.
Yeah,
but most DSPs, not all, but most, will automatically calculate that for you and then figure it out. It's like it knows, hey, this one's 61 and this one's 52. We can figure that basic math out for you. We got a calculator in here. They're like, screw you, buddy.
Yeah, that's how JBL got me because I did not know that when I put it in. And
Alpine is the same way.
I did it normally, and I got in there and I was like,
see, that's why I don't use a tape measure to do a head unit, because none of them do it the same freaking way. Yeah, so it's like, it's way easier just do polarity pops. And you can do that for, you know, if you're just doing a basic setup in a DSP. It's when you're doing like a 3-way set though that it's like, you got to do a tape measure.
Yeah,
it's like it just goes wonky.
So we have a topic tonight, and you touched on one of them. It's just car audio. Annoying car audio is what I put. So let me pull it up here. Okay. Thinking everything that old. Now I'm gonna hit on myself. Right. This is my here. Thinking everything that's old school was good equipment.
Oh God.
Everything that's dirty from but let's just say before 2000. They're like, oh, Pyramid was awesome. Like, no, dude, Pyramid sucked. Boss was awesome. No, Boss sucked back then too. Audio Bomb was awesome. No, Audio Bomb also sucks. Now that's what I'm not gonna get a lot of hate for.
No, it did suck. It was an entry-level brand. As far as guy asked real quick, but not come at you DSP. It uses there again. It's a fine DSP. We've reviewed it before. It uses the Chinese software that everyone in that price point uses. So it's
the same as the JBL, right?
It's just like everybody else. Yeah, exactly. So it's fine. It's a good price. It's a nice DSP. Alpine uses the software. Everybody uses that software. But yeah, it's fine. It has the same problems all of them have, and it's also really solid. So yeah. Yes, like we get that all, bro. I remember back in the day, I had my Boston Pros, bro, and those were the best, you know. And you're like, sure they were.
You just hit Derek in the heart with an arrow. That was, I don't know. I think it was the speakers he loved more than any of them. I never really got my hands on a bunch of Boston back in the day.
It's just the stuff that came through the store.
Yeah.
You know, because we weren't a Boston dealer. We weren't you know, we sold JBL for a while back in the old days where they had the T06 tweeter, which was like this crazy array tweeter that had all the, you know, it's like, there again, JBL could talk for hours on the dome of their tweeter, and you're just going, it's a tweeter, dude. It goes tick, tick, tick.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is it's funny if you think about it, because like there was cassettes. It sounded like crap. It was like, that was the medium to which most music was played back then, was cassettes. We slowly transitioned into CDs. The equipment really wasn't set up for CD. It was set up for cassette. So, you know, we didn't exactly have good stuff by today's comparison. So music wasn't recorded all that well, because even like when we went to CDs, it still was new. So they were just screwing stuff up left and right. So to say like, oh my God, this stuff was, no, it's nostalgic all the way. I mean, it's just like now when people go, oh, I want to get a record player, bro. And it's like, in your mind of minds, you're listening to the record and you're going,
This sounds way worse.
It's
It's
weird. Like, I don't understand why people like. I mean, some people will be like, "Oh, it's the snaps, it's the hiss, it's,"
the
and like,
only thing that I can compare to that I find somewhat true is like an old tube amp that it you can hear distortion in a tube amp, but for whatever reason, it's like a good sounding distortion.
I like when Melissa says, "I have a brand new set of Boston Pro 6 3-ways. They're nowhere near my Focals KRX3s, KX3s." I don't know why I always throw an R in there, but yeah. Yeah. Well, and there again, it kind of goes back to what we were originally talking about when you say, you learn, right? You evolve, you become better. We have all that stuff that we did in the 80s, and in the 90s we were better, and in the 2000s we were better, in 2010s. Every 10 years, it's like this stuff has to get better. If it doesn't, it's like, to think about it, like put it in this perspective. You could take a kicker key right now, you could take a kicker key and put it against any amplifier built in the 80s. I'm pretty sure it would kick all their asses. Like, you
Yeah.
could put it up at 225, at 275, at 250, a precision power, a sound stream, put it against all that shit. Walk up to that guy in the 80s, travel back in time and be like, put this in. He'd be like, no. Be like, put it in. No, put it in. And then be like, holy shit. What is that? Like, why
Yeah.
is there sound coming from where there's no speakers? And how is it so loud? It's only this big. What is, and they'd be like, this is Matt. Are you a magician?
Well, it's like you could put it all stock location speakers and it's gonna sound like that. Whereas back in the day, if you wanted to get something similar, you're gonna have
Well,
kick
there again,
you're gonna have
what
to
stock locations? There was no stock. You had a speaker at the bottom of the door. There's no tweeters. Like, oh, you got a Honda Civic with the tweeter pods? Dude, I mean, I can't say how many times we had to drill tweeters into cars. We legit would not sell components just because it was like, man, I don't want to cut tweeters into that. Just sell them some good components. It's okay. It'll be louder. It'll sound better. It's like, oh, you want the special speakers? Come on over here. We'll show you the ones that have tweeters. And they're like, oh my gosh, where do I put that?
Yeah.
We're gonna cut a hole.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut a hole. All right.
Well, there wasn't a whole lot of regular straight up component sets back then. A
No,
lot of them were still being
wasn't even a
sold
thing.
separates, so
Yeah, it was all just coaxials. Well, actually, so you'd buy a car and have dual. That's why it was so easy to do a deck and four,
yeah.
because it would come with an FM radio and 4 basic ass speakers.
Yeah.
How hard is it to say I could sell you 4 speakers with these tweeter thingies and something that'll play a cassette and or CD? Boom, And you got the Clarion CD player back in the day used to go for $249, $289.
Yeah.
And then a set of speakers like Alpine S types used to be $79, and dash kits were $20, $10 for a plug, $5 for an antenna adapter. And then we used to charge that'd been like $150 to install. Like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Just sell them all day. Like, you
I
just
was a holdout with it. Like, I had to, because I spent so much money on a
oh, nice.
Clarion tape player,
Mhm.
and it was the motorized face, and it took
Yeah.
tape in motorized. So
Auto
I'm like,
reverse.
yeah, I'm like, oh, I don't mess with CDs. But I also bought the speakers. I had I think this might have been at the time when Macintosh
Mhm.
had bought Clarion.
No, Clarion bought Macintosh.
What was it?
Yeah, Clarion bought Macintosh.
Yeah, Clarion bought Macintosh, but it was like in '98, maybe
Yeah.
'99 ish. But yeah, I had the whole setup and the purple Clarion subs. Some of my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tube amp. The Butler amps. And there again, it teamed up with some nice speakers. Why would they not sound good? But it's a unique product. Like,
Yeah.
Butler, tube amps sadly weren't really a thing just because they're not that efficient.
Yeah.
So, and there again, I'm not saying all of it sucked, but
some of it did suck. Like,
most of the mainstream stuff sucked.
Yeah. I mean, some of it, I mean, it lasts so long because it was so simple. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of Class D amps today are using old designs. The let's say the direct to consumer brands are using old designs, and they're pretty tough because that's an old tried and true design that's used through the years. So that's why.
Yeah. Yeah. And there again, that's what's cool about it. I mean, it'll never break, or if it breaks, it's cheap. I
Right.
mean, the reality is if you buy one of these amplifiers and it goes bad, it goes in the dumpster. They don't repair these things. They just every now and then you might find somebody that can find a repair guy, but finding a guy to repair it is almost
They're
like,
only gonna do it on, like, the ones that are very expensive. Like, if you bought a 10K or something, an 8K, something.
well, no, dude. No. So that's the screwed up thing. So I was talking with my buddy,
Yeah.
and we were talking about some of these amplifiers and what they actually cost. Because we were doing research on the Dean and Fernando amplifiers, and so I was talking with one of my guys that is they make other people's amplifiers, and so we were going through some of the costs, and my first concern was, because if I made the amplifier, I don't really want anyone to use it. I just want it to be something people put on the shelf and it looks cool, right?
Yeah.
But if you did use it, what is my response? What is my cost for repair? And they're like, okay, so this is what it costs to repair it, and this is what it costs to throw it away and give them another one. And you're like, oh, so we throw them away and give them another one.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, it's sick. It's like legit sick. And you're like, but you also have to buy a freaking. My biggest problem would be, where would I store them?
Yeah.
Because you can't. There are companies that'll make you like 10, but other companies want 250 to 300 amplifiers you have to buy, and if there's two, that's 600 amplifiers that I have to buy, and it's like, where the hell do I store 600 amplifiers? Like,
Garage door that won't open.
yeah, that's a lot of amplifiers. So I'm like, okay, this isn't realistic anymore. Like that, believe it or not, the storage was one of the main reasons why it's like, okay, we need to rethink this, because I don't know where the hell I'm going to put that many amplifiers, just because I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah. And who
I mean,
knows how much it's going to cost to ship it, so.
Well, yeah, but even that's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's all, you buy them prepackaged.
Yeah.
So they come double boxed and ready to go. You just got to put a label on it.
Well, I mean, from China to you, that's the one.
Oh, that's actually not that bad.
Really?
That's not that bad anymore.
That's
good. That wasn't like when we bought the IRTAs. For what we paid to ship the IRTAs here now, I could probably ship like 6 containers.
There you go.
So,
that was, COVID stuff's ending.
I
had something that was going with this.
Well, see, the cool thing is like you say, usually a pallet full. They'll tell you exactly how many pallets it are. When we figured out how many pallets it was like, because of the physical size of the amplifier, so they could tell us everything we needed to know. It was like we were serious about it, and it was like, I can't fit that many pallets in my garage. So
yeah,
because they can only go so high, and the weight and all this other nonsense. So it's like, oh, this sucks. I just want to buy 10.
Yeah,
could I buy 10?
Oh, you can at a one-off price, I'm sure.
Well, I should fine. Yeah. Again, it's more of a collector's thing than anything else. I mean, it's the Dean and the Fernando. So yeah, we talked about it on the show, and I was like, that'd be cool. And
wait, is the Dean the sub amp or the mid amp?
No, so the idea is there are 2 amplifiers. One is a tiny one, and that's the Dean, and then there's a bigger one, and that's the Fernando.
Right.
They're both basically the same power. One is, a miniature component, more of a biker style amplifier, and the other one is regular size amplifier, not so condensed. Both the same amount of power, both 500 watts. His would have his look and mine would have my look, and that would be that. So
they all right, let me see my next one here. Sticking with the old guys, picking on guys like me. Old heads thinking they know everything because they did installs 40 years ago.
Okay, so this is a fun one because yes, the Fernando would be the larger one.
Because it's ironic, get it?
Yes. Yep.
I knew straight away.
Yeah, so I had a customer come in this week. One of the F-150s we've done this week is an older gentleman, and he's 70 years old. God bless him. He's 70 years old, and he's been in and out of the hospital, medical shit. He's been trying to get this stereo finished in his truck for like the last 5 years. Okay, and he's put in part of it, and he did he watched. Dude, the guy watched all our videos. Installed it like we would do it. Did a beautiful job.
Yeah.
Like tech flexed everything. Amp rack mounted in place. Wire. But he was like, okay, so here are the things I don't want to do. I don't want to ground it. I built a battery mount, which he built this acrylic battery mount, which is gorgeous. And he's like, I don't want to terminate the wires. And all his speed wire and RCAs and base knob wires were just hanging out by where the radio was going to go in, and it was going to need an iData kit. And he's like, that's not my speed. But the reason why this is relative is he used to install back in the day.
Yeah.
Like he's like, yeah, when I was 20 something, I put this stuff in cars and I worked in this industry for 30 years. And this was fun for me because I hadn't thought about it in years. He goes, but immediately when I saw this other stuff, I was like, there is no way in hell I'm touching that. So I'm leaving it to you guys to finish. So it was kind of fun to get in there and finish the work for him.
Yeah.
Because he literally did everything, and he would bring it by and be like, okay, I want you to tell me if this isn't the way you want it, because I know how you are, and if it's not the way you want it, you're gonna be like, I don't want to do it. So is this okay? And I'd be like, no, that's perfect. That's exactly how we would have done it. He goes, okay, just want to make sure. He'd go away and he'd put something else in, and it was like, all right, this is cool.
That's the 1 in a million shot, though.
That is 100% 1 in a million guy. He was the coolest dude ever, and he was so happy when I turned it on yesterday for him. I mean, he literally was like, oh my God, I've waited 5 years for this, and it does not disappoint. You guys are awesome. And I was like, dude, I didn't do it. I just finished it up, bro. You did all this. Like, I turned some knobs on the amplifier and put a dash kit in. I'm like, this is all you, bro. Pat yourself on the back. He's like, we did great work. And I was like, there you go.
Killed it.
Killed it. All right, hold on. What's Justin saying? How do I explain to older guys tuning a DSP isn't a one and done? Come back in 3 months for a tune-up. I don't explain that, bro. I'm a one and done guy. I'm a one pump chump, bro. No, so tuning a DSP, there's a bunch of different ways to tune a DSP, right? With all the DSPs that we've done, every now and then we'll get a guy that wants to come back in and have us retune, which I'm perfectly fine with. Most guys do not, which is cool. We spend a lot of time sounding the car when we're done. Like, we will spend an obscene amount. Like, we're working on, so the Range Rover we did a couple weeks ago, or a month ago, or whatever it was. The guy came back to have us redo the amplifier portion of it to go back to what my original design was. So he got cheap on the install. Originally, we were supposed to do a Blackbird and it's a better head unit, and he wanted to put the crappy blob punk in it and like just put a small amp in the power of the speakers and not go crazy. He was like, it's just a toy car. I'm just I don't want it to, I'm not going to be pinkies out or anything like that. I said, okay, fine, go cheap. And so after hearing it, he was like, this sucks. And I go, yeah, I know. And he has a better reference because he has a full cal system in a Porsche that we did. So he's like, and I'm like,
yeah.
So the first thing, like immediately, like the next day, we ripped out the blob punk and put the JVC that I wanted to in it, just because like this blob punk sounds like dog shit. And we were talking about it today on the show, and somebody's like, all the guys in Europe love the blob punk. I mean, it might be a different blob punk.
Yeah, they're probably getting different ones than what we're getting.
But this one sounded like shit.
Yeah. So, they sell one in Crutchfield that's like $400. I assume maybe that's okay, but I don't know.
No, I think that was this one.
That was that one. I assume they all sound like trash, but I don't want to. I know at one point they made good stuff at some point.
Dude, it looked cool. Sound like Dookie. So like right away we changed that. And we just and like we needed a whole day because it was like we got to take this amp out. We got to put the Blackbird in. We got to rewire everything. And then he wanted to go to some Morel hybrids in the rear 4-inch because he wanted a better 4-inch because he's all about that rear fill. And so, today we spent a good part of the day. Like we got done with we started the install late yesterday and we finished it about 2:00 today. And then we got done tuning it, listening to it, heating it up, like we spent, which is about normal. We spent about 5:30 when we went live. Fernando had just finished doing his listening session. So, we put a lot into that. It's never, all right, do a quick tune. Let's get it out of here. Yeah. No, man, I didn't just spend 2 days on your car or 3 days on your car or any of that crap to go like, Ugh.
What?
Melissa's confirming it for me. That block box sucks. It has DAB, which is for overseas. Yes, that's the one. Even the preamps suck. Yes. Yanked one out about a month ago.
Yeah. And I
Shame.
seen it.
It
I
looks
was I
nice.
was thinking, I was like, well, maybe they made a good one. Apparently,
Yeah, no, it sucks.
dodge that
Dude, and the
bullet,
controls
everybody.
on it suck. Everything about it sucks. It has no features. It just looks cool. It's cool plastic,
Yeah.
you know? Hey,
I can't get in the mindset of someone that knows what work you guys do at 5 Star, right? To go in there with the budget system. Like I'm not like if I'm going into 5 Star, I'm at minimum getting the medium system. You know, I might not be able to afford my dream system, but I'm gonna get
well, yeah, but I mean, he had so the problem was it's like there's only so much that was going to work in this.
yeah.
And this was a lot of the times like these systems, they start out very small and then they snowball. So the guy's restoring the vehicle. So music is now for he wants to do the music before the interior goes in the car, which thankfully yes.
Right.
And so it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm spending a whole bunch of money on this car that is not worth this amount of money. Do I want to put this much money into the stereo? I always approach things with like, tell me what it is you want, and I will build you that system. And then at the end, you'll go, whoa. I'll be like, yeah. And so you have to decide how important it is. On the flip side of that, I had a guy come in yesterday. Paul had me talk to me. I had an Audi A5. Okay. And it's 2022 Audi A5. That has a most 150 system in it, which is just the data bus. Mobridge just started making an interface for it. And he's like, I want it loud because it's convertible. He goes, I want it louder, but I don't want to spend a lot of money. And I'm like, okay. So, all right. So I looked at it, saw what it had. I went inside and I looked it up. So the interface, just the interface to get a preamp section on it's $1,000, $989. I said, all right. So that's fine. So I validated that was going to work, and then I said, all right. So we're gonna need DSP. I did some quick math, and I said, okay. So here's the deal. Our conversation started like this. I want it louder, but I don't want to spend a lot of money. Fine. How do we make something louder? We got to add amps. We got to add speakers, right? And in your car, there's certain limitations we're going to run into. Let's say we want to do a halfway decent sounding system. Okay, $5,000. A good sounding system like the one you want, because you have a Harman Kardon system, it's going to be $10,000. And he's like, $10,000? I said, well, hold on. Let me break it down for you. The interface module in your car right here is $1,000. Before we do anything in your car, it's $1,000 right up front. $1,000 for a box. So then we're going to need an amplifier, a multi-channel amplifier. That's going to be somewhere between $1,500 to $2,000. So keep in mind, you have a Harman Kardon system that actually sounds pretty good. Go ask one of your buddies that has an A5 instead of an S5 that doesn't have the Harman Kardon system to listen to their car, and then you'll appreciate how good your car sounds. Okay, so it's like you walk them through the whole process, and at the end, because at the beginning, fast forwarding back to the beginning, I said, all right, we're not going to be able to sell you anything because you're not going to want to pay any. You just don't have the budget. He was like, what? And because he's a sales guy, and he's like, sales guys don't say that shit. I'm like, I'm not a sales guy.
Exactly.
No, bro, just do an LC2I.
Exactly. That's the usual.
So the funny part it's funny she says that because he came from a competitor of ours that the guy said, yeah, I can make it louder for $3,000. And he was like, oh, okay. And he was like, that's still a little bit too much. And one of his buddies was like, go see these guys. And he's like, oh, yeah, I've actually talked to these guys before. Which is funny because I believe I remember talking to him and he had like a BMW at the time. And I was like, dude, you roll in here and you want a $20 solution for a $10,000 problem. It doesn't exist. Like, what world are you in? And so, yeah, it's not all roses and butterflies. It sucks sometimes. You have to like to check these guys. It's like, dude, like you can't go to like. So I had a really weird yesterday. We won't get into it, but it was a really weird yesterday. Needless to say, 10:30 last night, all three of us end up at IHOP because we hadn't eaten yet, and it was just ridiculous. And we're like, we're just starving. Go to IHOP. Have a wonderful IHOP dinner. It's as great as that can be. Everybody loves IHOP, right? They got great pancakes.
Great
It's
pancakes.
IHOP. It's what
Free
it is.
party
Dude, we got done.
literally
Tip.
last week.
So we got done, and the bill was $72 with tip. And I go, bro, did we just eat at Cheesecake Factory and I didn't know it? Like, what the fuck? It's IHOP, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Well, how much was that hot chocolate you got? Like, shit. No, she's like, I got the appetizer sample. I was like, that's like a $20 thing.
Yeah. Like, you can't get 2 orange juices. You get 1 because they charge for the second one.
Yeah. What the hell, man? It was just funny though, because I'm thinking in my head, I'm going, yeah, this is what it is. This is what it is now. This is just this is the the 3 of us used to go out. It was like $35, $40, $72 at IHOP. Holy shit! Like, damn. And we didn't get nothing special. Like, I got an omelet, Sue got some breakfast thing, and Haley got the sampler. They got drinks. I had a water. But at that point, it was like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So I paid $72 for some mediocre food. You think you're going to come in here with a $200 solution? Come on, man. Dean, you're very gifted at not giving AF. It'll take you places. It has.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, for example, we had Chipotle tonight. Just me and Cassie to go.
Oh, God.
$35.
Dude.
We'll dive into it on the next show, but yeah.
Dude, let me tell you what. That is the one restaurant I cannot understand why people eat that shit. I have tried it. I've given it every opportunity in the world.
Yeah.
And I would rather eat the bag than eat that shit. But we won't go there. Okay, so
we'll talk about it in the next show.
Yeah. So anyways, back to your point. Yes, I find that so fun.
Yeah.
To have the guy. It's because they're one. Now here's the best part. The normal guy that comes in and says, "I used to do this for a living." He's either like full of shit.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, or he tries to talk the game, and then you have to feel him out to see what he actually knows. You know, and it's like, okay, like, and those guys, some of those guys, I don't even want to talk to. Like, I'm just like, I don't want to talk to this guy because, you know, whatever he thought he knew back in 2000, it isn't relevant anymore, and he's not listening to what I'm saying. He's not down with it, and I can't help him. And there's where that I don't give a fuck attitude comes in, and I just go, you seem to have this figured out. I tell you what, just go tell Paul what you want.
You just said
we'll make it happen. Yeah. You know,
that's the way. Well, that's really like the person that wants, like the person that's restoring a car.
Oh God!
In my eyes, it's like you can restore a car. Like, how hard is the audio system to figure out at that point?
Yeah,
if I'm restoring the car,
well, you know, here's the funny. So there's a couple guys in our industry, like JK Tapes. JK Tapes is we won't get into that. Anyways, JK Tapes is Jeremy Katz. Jeremy Katz has been in the industry for years. Jeremy Katz is in every magazine when magazines exist. I think he was in the last Auto Sound and Security magazine. His car was featured in. So this guy has been around the block. He's a fantastic. He just got done with a Supra. And this Supra is it's like 150 hours. Like, they've been working on it for years. It's all 3D printed. It's all like crazy. The stereo in it is probably the cheapest thing. I guarantee it was a $20,000 stereo. Okay.
Wow.
And it's the cheapest thing in the car. It's just these guys. There's another one, Jeremy Carlson, down here in Miami-Dade, that they'll do $200,000 builds. You know, resto mods that are just like, somebody builds the car and they just build the interior. They'll spend a whole year 3D printing or CNC, and it's all machines, man. It's like they work in an operating room. Yeah. And you know, they'll put the F1 system in it. It doesn't matter. 35 grand, whatever. Like, that's easy for them.
Right, yeah.
Because it's like, oh, it's all one, it's everything? Perfect. Just do it. You know? Exactly. And it's like, oh, okay. All right, so what's Vera saying? That's like people that come in and simple 4-channel, cheap speakers. When it's like 1K, they freak. I'm like, seriously? I know. I talked to your bosses today, by the way, Chris.
Oh, you're in trouble, bro.
Yeah. No, I did drop your name, though. It's a really good friend of mine.
Oh, man. Maybe you get a raise now. I'm trying to look. I don't know if you've seen the technical director for Fast and Furious 1 and 2, Craig something. He has a YouTube channel.
Oh, wow.
He worked with another YouTube channel to rebuild the Supra,
Oh, cool.
which had a very specific audio system in it. And they faithfully recreated. They got the Butler tube amps, so he sourced those because that's what part of the system, some Alpine Type S. So they spent a little bit of money getting all the old school same exact system.
Nice. Chris is over there shitting kittens right now, by the way.
Yeah.
All of them, Chris. All of them. You know what annoys me? People that don't smash that like button. There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
I have more. I have plenty more. Let's see here.
Let's go. Let's hit them.
Oh, this one. I got this. I sourced this one. So people were looking for Facebook recommendations in a group or whatever, and then the people that go in and only comment like it could be an influencer like me that comments only things that they have affiliate links for, or it could be someone that is like a brand whore and it's only this and only that. So that's one for sure. Like you're not getting a genuine recommendation.
No. You're getting a hey man, the D or D. What is it? Down for sound. D. I don't even D4. I don't even know what his amp line is, but that's not. I just don't know.
Right.
Was it DS or
D4S?
There you go. D4S. Sorry, it's in my head and I'm going. What's that? It's a D4S affiliate link for everything.
Right.
You know, it's like. Well, he doesn't even make that. Like they're literally asking for something which is odd. Like he makes everything, but it's like he doesn't even make that. Why would they? No, you know.
Yeah. Or he's just like, oh, the Scar dudes, like, oh, it's Scar, the Sundown dude, whoever it is, the Kicker Club. Like you're not getting anything but a kicker recommendation from the Kicker Club. You know, I'm part of the Kicker Club, so
no. And there again, in that vein, the one that always gets me is that they'll ask a question and then there'll be like 10 answers. And then the person that is supposed to ask the question or answer the question. So like, somebody that works for the company, the person that built the product will come on and answer the question to like, boom, like Joe from Kicker will come on and be like, hey guys, this is what you got to do. And it's just like explain the whole thing. It's like at that point,
that goes into the void. The comments. It's in the void. They're going to steal.
Well, yeah, it's so then, but the next comment is, well, I think this, and it's like, no, dude, the guy this is the guy that built the amplifier. It's like, it's like Tony D commenting on something. It's like, no, he's the guy that designed this shit. Like,
I got time to read comments.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to.
Don't ask my opinion. I'm putting my opinion right now.
Yeah, or Moscone, and Frank will get into the comments and be like, "You're all wrong," and it's like I just have to read it with a German accent, and he'll type in the answer, and everyone will be like, "Yeah, I don't think that's it." It's like, he literally designed it. Like, are you stupid or stupid?
Man, but I have a question for our next show that's gonna kind of maybe turn that on its head. So don't let me forget. Okay. It's a good one. Okay. What else? Did we already do equating loudness to good sound? I think we might already.
I'm sure at some point we have, but how do you feel about that?
I hate it. but so you can have something very loud that sounds good.
Yeah.
But there's a point at which like SQ is subjective to everybody. Now we're not.
I'm beginning to hate that term.
Yeah, and it's like because some people take it strictly as competition. Some people just take it way out.
Yeah,
but it's like, I also hate SQ term now too.
The only thing I hate more than SQ is SQL.
SQL, yes, which
is called daily driver.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, everybody wants it loud.
Yeah. It's like loudness can be great, but there's a spectrum. Like me, I like a little bit more tweet than the average SQ person. Now, not a bass head. Bass heads really. I'm more in
but there again,
Fernando lane of the tweeters.
So I always find it. So this is one of the things I'm struggling with now, as far as trying to rationalize this. When we have to, so by comparing two things, so if this thing sucks, the way to make this thing suck less is to say that the thing that is tangent to it sucks also. So basically what you're saying is that this is sucky.
Yeah.
But as long as it doesn't suck as much as this thing, or if this thing also sucks, then it's like two rights make a wrong, which is
Yeah.
right
Exactly.
now in the world. So it's like, yeah, but that sucks. But oh well, this sucks worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know that. I know this. They both suck.
Well, it's like if you get pulled over for speeding because you were in the back and you're like, but that guy was speeding.
Yeah.
Like, bro, everybody was speeding.
I can only pull one guy over.
You got caught. Like,
yeah,
everybody took a chance. You're the one that got caught.
All right, so here we go. I knew this was gonna. 90% of the people just want loud and clear music. It seems like SQ is marketing. Everyone wants great sound that is upgrading. It should all be SQ.
Yeah, people used to say loud and clear. And that's what it is. I think that because back in the day, people would just turn their radio up as loud as it would go. And I know a couple of people that still do that. It's just crackling and distortion and all that. Yeah, but see, I will also turn my radio as loud as it'll go. But I have my
I play our amps go up to 11.
Right.
Everyone else's go to 10.
Listen, on the Kenwood, you can go up to the very like 63, 64 is top or something like that.
You go all the way. It doesn't matter. Break the knob off.
Yeah, you go all the way and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the reality of all of this. So like all you guys, not to clump you all together, but you fall into a category of somebody that is generally interested in this industry. Whether you're a hobbyist, whether you're a professional, it doesn't matter. You love car audio. You understand it to some in varying degrees.
Mhm.
And so you have an understanding that makes sense. Okay. Most customers that come into the store aren't that. They're not that. They are people that just like, I get told on a routine basis, I don't understand any of this. I just know I want it to be better. And I go, that's fine. We can do that. Let's go through a round of really basic questions that'll help me build that better for you. And that's where the sales side of things come in, because we'll go sit in the car. Sometimes we know the problem. Like we know, like in an F-150, a guy rolls in, we know what the problem is. They're all the same. It sounds like shit. It's not loud enough. There's no definition. The tweeters suck. It's a real simple thing. We've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Jeep is the same way. Tundra. Yeah. But every now and then you get a car that's like, okay, let's go sit in your car and figure out what you don't like. Because sometimes you'll sit in a car and it'll be like, damn, this actually sounds really good. Like, what don't you like about this? And to me, I'm like, I would be happy. Like, it's maybe not loud enough, but I would be happy. And then you say, okay, so, what do you have for a home stereo? And I'm like, a what? A what? Who? What? Next question. And you're like, what? What the fuck? Case in point. What do you have for a home stereo? Exactly. I got a sound bar screwed to the wall I got from Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, so you have no reference for good sound. Great. Do you have Apple the inner ear thingies? Yeah, okay. Or the who's, and are you a Beats by Dre guy? So you got to act like, where are they at in all of this? Because then you can kind of feel like, okay, you want brighter highs, or you want deeper bass, or you just overall just want it to just like, and so, that's least favorite. I call the JP crowd. 10,000 watts for $129. Yeah, it's you saying that, not me. But
that might be closer to the Scar crowd because they're the ones getting the.
Yeah, I was gonna say JPs are pretty expensive, so.
They're not like Sundown Salt expensive, but
no, right? Those
things are expensive, dude.
God damn, man. So okay, so whatever you were saying, pause.
Right.
Guy came in with F-150. Another dude did the install on it. For some reason, we didn't do it, and I'm like, why didn't we do it? And he wanted something else, and I go, we should have talked him out of that because that was dumb. So he has an F-150 with Raptor with subs that he added.
Yeah.
And he integrated into the factory stereo. He bought a T harness, and I was like, okay. And he got a key lock with the T harness, so they pre-tuned it for him, which was perfect. That was all right. But he put a Salt like 3 or 4,000 watt amp in it, and they built him a big old lithium battery bank for it.
Dude.
And then they bought him, a Gately box, lifted up the seat. I think we might have put this on the show. And it was like crazy shit. I was like, holy fuck. And I was like, really? And we were putting in an epicenter and flipping the, because whoever put the key lock in put it upside down.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's driving me crazy. And I'm like, well, yeah, I get it. No problem. We'll flip it the right way and life will be good. And so we fixed everything and we gave him the epicenter because he was like, and I was like, okay, listen, here's the deal. If this works, don't ever come see me again. Okay. If this doesn't work, come see me, but with $7,000. I said, and then we'll fix all of this.
I can't imagine needing an epicenter when you have 4,000 watts or whatever.
So here's the problem.
It's like, what are you doing?
Here's the problem. You tied it into a factory for BO system.
He used like an LC2I situation?
No, he used a key lock.
Oh.
The key lock will fix the signal, but it's a very dynamic signal. Okay, so it's got a lot of loudness.
Yeah.
And the forward volume knob is really stupid. Like it looks like if you're looking at it on a scope, it looks like this, but it's more like this, because it's just like, 1 to 35, 35 to 40. So it's just, and people are afraid. They get afraid, and so it's no fun. It sucks, and it's tons of power with a shitty signal and a 4/8 front firing. And those boxes are tuned to the ground. So 30 hertz all day long. Guess what that car doesn't have? 30 hertz. There's nowhere, like if you look at the signal, it literally goes. So it's not there. So you need, and the key lock can only bring back so much. I mean, it's only 12 dB plus or minus. So, if you got a 24 dB cut, sucks to be you, bro. So, the easiest way to fix it is to put a A to B module in it, pull out the factory radio, put another amplifier, redo all the mids and highs. And that was the thing. It was like if I would have had a chance to talk with the guy, then we would have built an entirely different system. I sure as hell would have put a 4,000 watt Salt amplifier with this very sketchy lithium battery bank back there, because he didn't need any of that.
Well, I think a lot of people don't need that. That's another one. Like, I don't think people need as much, and we talked about this last time for sure, but you don't need as much power as you think you need to get the sound you want. Now, if you're going to the Sundown show in August, which I will be there with Derek.
Oh, nice.
Then yeah, you probably do need that because you're trying to float bricks and babies. But if you're just trying to rock out, like, you do not need a 4.
Well, that was the thing. He built a system in his previous truck.
Yeah.
And he thought this was the better move, and he did some stuff, and in there again, it's a 4,000 watt that sounds like 1,000 watts. Really, at the end of the day, it is not a 4,000 watt. It's a 1,000 watt amp.
Because he doesn't have the signal to support it.
No, it's just not going to work that way. And so, whatever. I mean, to me, it's like, so I've already spent all this money. What can I do to get it to where I want to play some stuff and not have it suck? He's like, I'll play bass music and it'll just, everything else I play is like, So we put the epicenter in, and we went out in the truck. I spent about 10 minutes with him playing a bunch of different of his music, and we played with the effects knob, and it's just like, okay, what do you think? Is this doing? Because there again, I don't know what he's trying to do.
Right.
And is it? And he was like, oh my god, this, and he's playing fucking 80s.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's like, holy shit, yeah. And I was like, all right, woo. Fuck you, day.
Fixed it.
So,
Oh,
I said, good. If you're, I like there again, if you're happy, please don't ever come see me again. Because
exactly.
I said, I got to be honest with you, that lithium battery bank back there scares the fucking
Sketch.
shit out of me.
Sketch.
Like, he goes, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. There's like no acrylic cover on or anything. I go, yeah. And it's like, you have 2 battery posts between 2 metal seat risers.
Yeah,
That
that's
sounds
always,
dumb.
always great.
Yeah.
Oh man. So let's finish on this.
Yeah.
Speaking of, this is not an annoyance, but I had a deep conversation with somebody that got a recommendation for a shot from you. Guy's name's Nick. And he's
Okay.
like, "Hey, what do you think about this layout?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. I like this and that. That's kind of the system they built them out." And just through talking with him, he's saying like, "Yeah, I want a really nice front stage, but it always came back to the subs and amp." And I was like, "Dude, like sometimes you just have to admit to yourself the main thing you want is some bass.
Yeah.
Like that's the most. Sometimes like it doesn't. It's not right, wrong, or indifferent. You build the system you like, and if bass is what you want, focus your attention towards the bass and do the other part when you can. Because he was talking about doing the front stage first, and then going in later and having them put so he didn't have to pay all the money up front. And I was like, that's great, but to me, it sounds like you're leaning really heavy on the bass. So I would go bass first, and then get the front stage later, because that's probably going to make you the happiest right now.
Yeah. And the nice thing is, if depending on the car, if he did that, the bass will suck.
Yeah.
And then, he'll
It's
be
a
like,
2022 Bronco.
yes, the bass will suck. And he'll be like, okay, so I need to make this all better. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, here you go. Oh, Broncos, dude. It's
I've heard the horror stories.
no, it's not that. Honestly, most of it comes from the retail side. It's like it's got a 4 in the dash, and people are putting tweeters up there, and they're like,
Yeah.
why would you take out a fucking 4-inch speaker and put a tweeter up there? And then they'll take out the 4 in the back and put a 6.5. And you're like, what kind of logic does that make? So where everyone can hear it, you'll take out the big speaker and put the smallest thing you have. And where nobody gives a shit, you'll take out the small speaker and put a giant speaker that's not enough airspace for.
Gotta have the
Boom! Genius! Genius!
Oh man. All right. We have another show called Side Jam. We review terrible movies.
God, yes.
Yes, we did. If you want to see that, click the link. See us there.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye.